Welcome to this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice. What we'll be doing today is going through a series of practices of first getting grounded and settled and centered. And then from that grounded, settled, centered place, we then cultivate paying attention, mindfulness. Mindfulness has two aspects. And the two aspects of mindfulness are focus or attention and awareness or a monitoring function. And that is our attention can be placed on in a particular direction, such as what we'll do is focusing on aspects of the body, focusing on breathing, focusing on perceptions, different aspects of our experience. The awareness function is like a monitoring function that notices, are we paying attention to what we intended or not? Now, sometimes we go off into a daydream of thoughts so that we're someplace else rather than paying attention to what's going on in the present moment. And when we're in that daydream, we're often not aware that we're in the daydream. As soon as we become aware that we're daydreaming, the bubble has popped. We're already back. And being back, then the practice of mindfulness is remembering what we were doing and returning our attention to what our chosen object of focus was. Now, we know what it feels like when we don't remember what we're doing. You know, you're on the way to the kitchen to get something, you get distracted, involved with something else, then you finish that and you head for the kitchen, you go, now why did I come in here? So that's a moment of lack of mindfulness. In fact, in the tradition, the ancient Indian word for it was sati, and that's simply remembering or recollecting. And so we could say we recollect ourselves when we got scattered and our mind has drifted. And mindfulness itself it's both a practice and a state of being. So the practice is, well, let's start. The state of being is fully present to your experience, moment to moment to moment. The practice is when we drift away from that and get caught up in thoughts and taken away from our attention to our experience in the present moment. The practice of mindfulness is recognizing and then returning without judgment. So we can actually smile and say, that was wandering mind, and now I'm back to paying attention. We all have experience of that, and when we're in a classroom, when we were kids, the teacher would say, sit up and pay attention. So we're going to do the practice that way of sitting up. The tendency when we lie down, the tendency is to fall asleep. When we're standing, the tendency is to want to move. So we want to get a stable seat and take our seat. So that's going to be the basis of the practice. And we know that we've experienced wandering mind and missing what's going on. For example, if in a classroom, the teacher's giving a lecture, your mind wanders, you come back, you didn't hear what was being said. Your ears, the sound went into your ears, but it didn't reach your mind. In the same way, sometimes we're reading a book and we start on a line and something makes us think about something else, and we're thinking about that, but our eyes are still going across the page. We get to the bottom and we go, I have no idea what I just read. So it's not that we're no longer functioning. It's just that the main focus of our attention is on something else. The way this works in mind and perception, perceiving mind can really only take one perception at a time, and all the others go to the background. So if we're focused on seeing something, all the other perceptions go to the background. If we're focused on listening, tasting, smelling, feeling, and there's a sixth perception, we perceive our thoughts, which is why when we're off in thoughts, the other perceptions are functioning, but they're all in the background. The metaphor is like a monkey in a room with 6 windows, and the monkey is jumping from window to window, but can only look out one at a time. And in fact, looking at my image and hearing my voice on the device, what's actually happening, if you could slow your mind down enough, and I don't know that it's physically possible, but our perceptions are actually going seeing, hearing, seeing, hearing, seeing, hearing, seeing, hearing. And part of the time, if I say something interesting, you're more hearing, and vision goes to the background. If I make a movement with my hand, you're more focused on that, and the hearing goes to the background. So we're working with choosing our object of attention and monitoring, or using our monitoring function simply to notice if we drifted from that. And then gently bringing ourselves back to our intended object of focus. Now, that's the mindfulness practice. And we're going to do some of that in a kind of contained way to do a little training on keeping the mind close and present. It's like having a new puppy. You don't just give it a name and then hope it comes when you call and let it run around the yard. You have it on a short leash and you train it so that every time it pulls away, you say its name and then gently bring it back. Say its name, gently bring it back. So in the same way, when our mind wanders, we're going to name that by saying wandering or off in thoughts. You could use the word thinking, but not kind of try to stop your thoughts. It's simply a label that is shorthand for I was off in thoughts, the bubble has popped, I'm back, now return to what my intended object of attention was. After we do that for a little bit, then we're going to open up our field of vision and expand to our perceptions and the space around us, and open up and have a little less centered on this and more open to that, which is a good transition for our everyday lives, because we don't walk around with our gaze down and just focusing on our body and our breathing. We're engaging. So this is a way of engaging and awareness and being present. We want to be present with whatever we're engaging. You know how it feels if you're having in a meeting in a room with a number of people, and you're talking with somebody, and as you're talking, they're kind of looking around to see if there's somebody more interesting to talk to, or somebody they knew they're supposed to meet, and you don't feel engaged. So what we want to do is be aware that whenever we're engaging with others, we are completely, fully present. And so we do this practice of opening to the environment and being present to whatever we're experiencing of our different perceptions. In the last part of the practice, we take that openness and realize our connection with other beings, and that we share this planet. And we also, as living beings, we all want contentment, health, well-being. And we all want to be free from pain and suffering, both physical and mental. So we all share that. And the last practice, the compassion practice, is recognizing that the wish that all beings, including ourselves, but beyond ourselves, all beings can be free from the suffering and pain that they're experiencing, and be filled with more health, well-being, peace of mind. So that's the overview of what we're going to do today. Now, let's start by taking that good seat, and we're going to start with our eyes closed, but at some point we'll open our eyes and then be looking more straight ahead. So it'll be helpful if you can either turn your seat or turn your device so that you're not looking straight into the screen. But to start with, as the gong fades, let your eyes gently close and fully inhabit your body. If you're sitting on a cushion, you can have your legs crossed. If you're sitting on a chair, you can have your feet flat on the floor, but if your legs are long and your knees are above your hips, just cross your legs in front of you at your ankles and let your knees open up so that your knees are lower than the level of your hips. It'll take some of the pressure off your lower back and your legs. Feel your sit bones pressing into the seat and really sink in. Just let yourself sink in and balance them pretty equally so that you're not leaning in one direction or the other, to side, forward or back, but just upright but not rigid. Your upper arms are hanging straight down from your shoulders. Your hands are palm down on each thigh respectively. And your upper arms being straight down from your shoulders means you're not reaching way out to your knees and curling yourself forward, or pulling your hands back so that your elbows are behind you, but simply naturally hanging there. Our torso is upright, so your back is straight up, but not rigid. And you'll find it helpful to put a little tension into raising your sternum the tiniest bit forward and up, just 1/4 of an inch. And if you raise that sternum, it opens your chest. Your shoulders come back a little bit naturally to be directly under your ears. Your shoulder blades may even pinch a little bit. And you'll see that you can take a deep breath and it really opens your chest to fill your lungs. We want as far as our head and our neck, we want the back of our neck and the back of our head as an extension straight up from our spine, so that our chin is not sticking out forward, not tilted down, and not tilted up. If you feel that back of your head extending straight up, your chin just comes in naturally. Your jaw is relaxed, but your mouth isn't hanging slack open. Your lips are just slightly parted, and if it's more comfortable, they can be just lightly touching. Because mainly we're breathing through our nose. We want to breathe all the air in through our nose. If some comes out as we exhale through our mouth, that's okay. And right now we have our eyes closed. Be aware of your body. We're three-dimensional. There's depth front to back, not just width side to side like in the mirror. Feel that depth as you breathe in and out. There's an expanding of your torso. Imagine the breath coming in your nostrils, down the back of your throat, and down your back deep into your core. It feels that way because the diaphragm is pushing down to draw the breath in. It's almost like you're pouring water into a glass. It goes down the side of the glass and fills from the bottom up rather than the top down. Once you've done that, just soften your breathing and let it happen naturally. Let the body breathe by itself. Be an observer more than a controller. Feel that depth of the torso at the end of the in-breath, way down deep. A couple of inches below the navel, just in front of the spine. In the Eastern wisdom traditions, that's our energy or power spot, the hara or dantian. Let your mind rest there, deep in the core of your torso. Feel the gentle expanding and contracting, almost a feeling of filling and emptying in your lower torso as the breath goes in and out. Now gently open your eyes about halfway. Look down, just a couple of feet in front of you. Soften your gaze so you're not looking at something, but aware of the space that your body is sitting in. Sometimes there's a tendency as you're looking down to pull your head down towards that. Maintain your posture, looking down under your eyelids. And our awareness is of the space that our body is sitting in. Just watching our body as it breathes, feeling the internal sensation of expanding and contracting, filling and emptying. That's what we return our attention to in case our mind wanders. Resting our mind in the deep core of our torso, aware of space, posture, and that feeling of filling and emptying. We'll do that for a couple of minutes. As the gong fades, you can move a little bit, reinvigorate your posture. We're going to be looking out further, so be sure your device is off to the side a little bit. Retaking your posture, let your eyes be naturally open, and then let your eyes rest in whatever direction they naturally do. It'll be a little below horizontal. Soften your gaze, soften your facial muscles, open up your peripheral vision, side to side, above and below. Open to the full space. The in-breath tends to be energizing and gathering. The out-breath is opening and letting go. So our attention is primarily on the out-breath for this part of the practice. You'll be aware of your breathing coming in, your body breathing in, but you don't control your breathing. Again, let the breathing happen naturally. A small, shallow out-breath, a long, deep breath. Don't push it out or pull it in. Just let your body breathe naturally, but let your mind follow the out-breath out. And it becomes like a metaphor. As the breath goes out, it opens, it expands and dissolves and becomes one with the atmosphere in the room. In the same way, as the breath goes out, let your mind open up and become one, mixed with the space. So you breathe out, let go, and open to a more spacious mind. Out, let go, open. And you rest in that openness, aware of your body breathing in and whatever perceptions are happening. Breathe out, open, and rest. And in that spaciousness, sights appear, colors, shapes, shades of light and dark. Sounds appear, high and low pitch, near and far, loud and soft. Bodily sensations appear in your mind, maybe smells or tastes. And certainly thoughts appear. And they come up like bubbles, last for a little while, and then disappear. Sometimes one right after another. So they seem continuous, but they're not. They're just one after another, after another. Let them come and go, like sights, sounds, and bodily sensations. And again, if those thoughts capture your mind and take you away into a daydream, so that you're no longer aware of your experience in the present moment, when that daydream pops, just smile and go, oh, wandering. Breathe out, let go, and open to spaciousness. We'll do that for a few minutes. And as the gong fades, reinvigorate your posture. Remember to raise your sternum a little bit, your breastbone. Open up. And look out, straight out to the horizon. Imagine that your awareness extends out beyond the room that you're in, out as far as you can see in all directions. And imagine that your awareness extends beyond that out to the sky, in all directions, around you and above you. Mind as big as the sky. And within that awareness, all beings on the earth are under that same sky. Different places, but under the same sky. All are on the same earth. With the same water, the same air. Different places, but it's all the same. Sky, earth, water, air. Heat and cold. All beings have that in common with ourselves. Knowing how much we want to be free of pain and suffering, mental and physical. Know that we also share that with all beings. Knowing how much we want to feel good, contented, happy, healthy, at ease. So do all beings. We all share that. Knowing how much that means to us, feel your heart. In fact, if it's helpful, you can put your hand over the center of your chest at heart level, that raised breastbone. And feel a heart of caring, kindness, compassion for all those beings who struggle with suffering and would like to be free of it like we would. For all those beings who lack and wish for happiness and healthiness and peace of mind like we do. Rouse that intention, wishing that they could be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. That they could be free, they could have happiness and the causes of happiness. And include yourself in that, because we struggle finding that happiness, freeing ourselves from that suffering. And feel that big open heart of compassion from that heart of compassion, send out the energy of health, happiness, and ease to yourself and all beings. With each out-breath, send health, happiness, and well-being. You can do this with your eyes open or closed, whatever helps you imagine that you're sending and feeling that you're receiving it and others are receiving. Your wish for their health, happiness, and well-being. And now imagine that you could extract from them, draw out like poison from a wound, from yourself and others, all the causes of suffering and misery. That all could be free of those, and instead be filled with happiness, health, and well-being. If it's helpful, it's very traditional to pick a loved one very close to you that you know what they're going through and you know what makes them happy. Breathe in and draw away from them their suffering. Breathe out and send them peace, health, and happiness. Different places in the world may come to mind. Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan, and so many other places where there's aggression, warfare, suffering. Imagine if we could draw out from all beings the poisonous emotions of hatred, greed, fear, anger, ignorance, prejudice, jealousy, lust for power. So we could draw that out as we breathe in and send out as we breathe out, instead filling all beings with caring, kindness, love and understanding, acceptance, patience, generosity. As we free all beings from those negative emotions, we free ourselves from those negative emotions. As we fill all beings with those positive qualities, we fill ourselves with those positive qualities. And as the gong fades, let go of everything you're imagining. Come back to your body. Come back to the deep core. Lower your gaze. And just be present for a few moments. Body, breathing, and the space your body's sitting in. Thank you. And now to conclude the practice session, it's good to acknowledge what we've done of our intention to benefit others, and to extend that as an aspiration to continue our day that way, or our evening, or the rest of our lives. So you can repeat after me, or put it in your own words. May the practice I have just done and my actions from here on be of benefit to others, even more so than to myself. And that concludes this session of mindfulness, awareness, and compassion practice.